there, Tony from Six String Country back for another lesson. Today we get to look at Long-Haired Country Boy, one of my favorite Charlie Daniels songs. Charlie Daniels also wrote this one. There's a lot of different versions floating around out there. This version is most closely based on the original studio recording, although I do incorporate some elements of some live versions that I've heard. And this is more of an arrangement for one acoustic and one electric guitar. And both guitars have a ton of great kind of country picking riffs throughout the whole song, and we'll have an acoustic solo in the bridge followed by an electric guitar solo in the bridge.
People say I'm no good and crazy as a loon, 'cause I get stoned in the morning and get drunk in the afternoon. Kinda like my old blue tick hound, I like to lay around in the shade. I ain't got no money, but I damn sure got it made, 'cause I ain't asking nobody for nothing if I can't get it on my own. You don't like the way I'm living, you just leave the start alone. Preacher man talking on the TV, putting on the rock and roll, wants me to send a donation, 'cause he's worried about my soul. Said Jesus walked on the water, and I know that it's true. Sometimes I think that preacher man would like to do a little walking too, but I ain't asking nobody for nothing if I can't get it on my own. You don't like the way I'm living, you just leave the start alone.
In this tutorial, we'll be looking at the acoustic guitar part for Long-Haired Country Boy. We'll go over it in the order that we encounter these parts in the jam along video. All the riffs and the harder things are tabbed out, and I'll mention that as we're going through it. In a song like this, which is really an outlaw country, kind of down and dirty country tune, when you listen to Charlie and his band playing it live, they do it different every single time. So you have some license to make these parts your own and not necessarily obsess over, oh, was there that little muted pick before the riff every time or not, because they do it differently in subtle ways just about every time they play it. So you do have that license to feel free to make it your own. If you want to leave a riff out and just keep strumming, or you want to add a riff in or play a riff a little differently, you can do that on this kind of song, really on any kind of song, but especially on these kind of songs where the actual original band rarely plays it the same way twice. Now there are some important riffs, like this first one. We're going to want to learn that one just like they do it, because they do that one the same every time. So let's jump in and start right there. This is tabbed out. The song starts on a D chord. This is in drop D tuning, so you can do this. Open, 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 second, third, second. But for this, we're going to shorten it up. At first, it's not using this low D string. We're just doing these 3 notes. Open, 4th string, then 2nd and 3rd fret. And we go down, down, then over to the A string, open, down. Then we do the riff, which is open, hammer on the 2 on A string, then D string, back to 2 of A, and then 3rd fret of D with a little bend, and then open D string. So this is what we have so far. Now we kind of slide into the 5th fret of D and G, then back to the 5th fret of D, 7, then open D string, 5, open D string, 3, open D string, then we go to open A string, hammer onto 2, open D string, hammer onto 2, and off. Nice and slow, the whole thing. 3, 4. In this tutorial, we're going to learn the acoustic guitar solo, which happens over the first part of the solo in the bridge. All right, and we're going to start with this. You're coming out of. You kind of got to go right into it. It's awkward. This first measure is 5/4. If I'm being honest, I think it was just they were kind of stumbling into that section probably when they were recording this, and they just thought, oh, that's kind of cool, or it didn't bother them, and they just left it. But it's a measure of 5/4 to start the solo. So if you want to play with the recording, you got to slide in and give yourself an extra beat before continuing on. But we're gonna. So we did this. 1 and 2. And then on the 2 and that measure, you go to the next note. So we're going sliding up. You can slide up from 9 to 11 or 10 to 11. Just make it a quick slide. Then 10, 10 of B, back to a G string. In this tutorial, we're going to have some fun with the electric guitar. This is where our version departs a little bit from that original recording, although I do get that slide part that you hear in the recording on the electric, pretty much note for note on the intro, and then again in the solo. We're going to look at the solo by itself in its own tutorial. So this tutorial is going to just go through these riffs that mainly are made up, but it's going to be a good kind of study in some riffs that we can do over this style of country in the key of D. A lot of mode mixture, a lot of D pentatonic mixed with D blues that we're getting these riffs from, D mixolydian. Okay, so we'll talk through all that as we go. We're going to start right with this lead introduction, okay? And this is basically a transcription of how to play this lead intro on the electric guitar. So it comes in on the 2nd beat once the band comes in. 3, 4, 1. Okay, for a song like this, if I were doing this in a bar, I'd want it on bridge pickup, maybe a tiny bit of slapback delay on there, some compression, not too dirty, just a pretty clean kind of tube amp sounding overdrive, but again, pretty subtle. All right, nice and trebly, although you don't ever want it to be ear piercing, right? So what we did there was we slid from 5 to 7 on the G string, 1, 2, and then we go 7 to 5 real quick on D, and then 3 with a bend, and then 5 of A, and then we go all the way up to the 15th fret of B. And this comes in on the 2 and, so it goes 1.